What is up, adventurers? And today we're going to be covering a bit of a topic that I want to call on a future section called the issues in the game that don't get solved, and we come across these once again, and I'm going to come up with a few solutions, a handful of solutions, and you can tell me which one's the worst. I'm going to pitch these like they're all mine, but I'm just going to throw them out there. We're going to put them out there just to kind of put an end to this, to these everlasting issues that kind of come across our tables every once in a while. And we see posts like this one, which says, a player corpse camped me for nearly 3 hours today. Often while I work, I keep WoW running in a small window on one of my monitors. I'm on my level 50 Demon Hunter and didn't pay any attention to the fact that I had war mode on. So naturally, a level 80 player insta kills me, then begins to camp my corpse. I wait 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and he's still there. So I resurrect and he kills me immediately. Does a few emotes, then he runs around in a circle around my corpse, repeats, so I thought I would just see how long he can keep this going for. So every 15 minutes or so, I would resurrect and he would kill me over and over. This went for nearly 3 hours. 3 hours. I knew there were some pretty pathetic griefers in the game, but I've never seen such a sad example as this one. I'm at my computer doing my work, and meanwhile this loser is wasting away just so he can kill a level 50 over and over. Unless he was also at work, like me. LOL. Corpse camping for 3 hours should be a WoW achievement. Ha 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 ha. This seems like you laugh to hide the pain type of situation. Like pain in Spain without the S type of situation. I don't want to make this immediately about Classic, but I mean, like, we used to have World PvP zones. This is kind of just areas that were contested zones. Wasn't a toggle switch because this game, in case you don't remember, it's comes from a game called Orcs and Humans, right? So there was faction wars. So it's kind of where this game is rooted, and I think a lot of people still live in that. But I mean, I think even nowadays, I think there's people who legitimately, like, how they want to spend their time while they're just chilling is just killing lobies. Like, honestly, it's part of the game at this point. But I think players nowadays don't necessarily want to participate in that. They just see it as like an XP boost. It's the 10% XP boost. I mean, like, the immediate solution for me is just looking at this is like, just resurrect at the spirit healer. Take the small buff. I'm pretty sure it's short. And then turn it off. And then turn it off until you're out of that area. It's not a big deal. The 10% is not gonna save you that much. That's that much time, anyways. So I wouldn't stress it so much. But a lot of people come at this perspective of it's the concept, right? It's the concept that someone is attacking me in this area. I'm just trying to level, and it feels unfair. So I mean, like, I get it to a certain degree, but like I said, I mean, this is kind of something that you'd come across in World PvP. Now, would they have liked it if it was someone that was the same level, and they were still getting griefed? Would it then be an issue? I feel like yes. I feel like in this situation, this is often it's a problem when World PvP, like when you have war mode on. It's a problem when you actually have to use the part that you don't get the benefit from, the part where you have to put in work. I feel like they did this because World PvP really wasn't happening, and there were some people that I think would be upset if that just went away altogether. Especially because, I mean, not too many expansions ago, there was faction wars. So, like, even lore wise, it's kind of rooted in there. Like, why not have this in the game? Doesn't make sense to fully remove it. But I feel like I said, I feel like we come across this every once in a while, and we don't really have solutions for it. It just kind of continues in this fashion. This happens, like I said, every once in a while. But let's look at the comments and see what people are saying. While you were working, you said, maybe it's your boss. My first job back before I played WoW, I had a store manager tell me entirely unprompted that he would do this in low-level questing areas until the player gave up questing in that area. Yeah. Dude was doing his yearly Lord of the Rings trilogy watch and just chilling on your corpse. That's funny. It's someone like the "Don't make me get my main" video. Great. What happened at the 3-hour mark? Did he give up or did he get bored first? I actually stepped away from the computer. When I returned, he was gone because he finally got tired of re-killing me after the 3 hours. I would be dedicated. I'd come back. Yep, happened to me on Classic Era PvP for 8 hours. I was in Stricklethorn Vale from one end of the zone to the other. Besides this one instance, that's why I choose PvE this time around when fresh dropped. Not worth it me going through any of that again. Yeah, honestly, I would recommend PvE for people who don't want to do this. If it is a problem, you know, it doesn't make a lot of sense to do it if you're really not willing to participate in any type of way, because what is a PvP server if not world PvP? Like because otherwise it's just battlegrounds, and that's not like, you don't need an all server to do that. Every once in a while when I was really bored, I'd turn World Mode on and hang out in low level areas. This is to get people who do this. They usually are crap players. I'm no pro PvP player, but I've been able to kill almost every one of them I've ever fought. Started doing this years ago because of being annoyed by getting my leveling to scammed. I mean, yeah, I mean, this is the way to fight it, honestly, from your level. You know, if you have somebody who's it's literally, "Don't make me get my main." Like it's that, to be honest. Campers always suck. Yeah, that's true. Plot twist, they're also at work and they only have enough time to grief you. True. FYI on retail, Resurrection Sickness is only 60 seconds now, so you can just Spirit Revive if someone is camping at me. This is 100% true. So I honestly don't think it's. You should have seen me. I killed this guy so many times he gave up. Camped for like 3 hours, man. He was bad. Hardly even made me work for it. Yeah, no, that's honestly. I mean, I can't dog people from deriving joy from this kind of thing. It's kind of the way it is. I think people have different sensibilities, but here are my honest. I think, like, when I think about how do we fix this, a lot of people have mentioned in the past, like there's a number of ways that we kind of there's a few ways we can do this, but I think the best way to do this is to come up with ways that people can engage more in PvP in a constructive fashion, where this can still exist to a degree, but it's not as intense. So first is balanced matchmaking. Actually, before I say this, these are my opinions. They're not meant to be like, this is the solution. It's just what I think the solutions are. Over time, just looking at these, I think these are the best ways you could probably improve it altogether. But don't take it as gospel. It's just a way of me saying this is what I think might work. So first one is balanced matchmaking. With that, I think that this would allow people to who participate in it to essentially be taken in the zone they're in, just like a duel. Maybe an arena is made in these areas. Unlike a duel, however, you don't get to hit accept. You're simply participating once you've engaged in an area. Once you've engaged in an area with somebody who's wanting to attack you, maybe that's where the balancing comes into play, you know, to kind of force that sort of the level squish or whatever it might be. Say there's a large gap, or if you're within a certain amount of levels, maybe there's no squish, you know, like if you're within 5 levels, you know, something like that, where it doesn't do that. Maybe beyond then it squishes within that range. So someone's still going to have an advantage if they have a few levels over you, but it's not as drastic. You know, there's still a chance that you have if you have more skill. So that's my thought of like a balanced matchmaking. Basically change nothing other than quick balancing, and then creating a dual area essentially that you can participate in. Kind of just preventing that, you know, you're getting briefed by someone far above you. It isn't classic WoW anymore. I don't think that it can be, you can do it like you used to, at least as much as we could like to look back and appreciate that. Second one, is enhancements to war mode. So I think that the incentives for 10% XP are good in a way for people who are leveling, but I don't think that it engages everybody in that. You don't hit enough people in that. People don't necessarily want to speed level. So why not hit people who transmog? Why not hit people who want mounts? Why not hit people who want other things in the game? So engaging those people who participate in other parts of the game, so you have more people in war mode, so it's more evenly spread. That way, as more people are actively engaging in it, you don't either get people who are leveling, who are far low levels, and then people who just want to grief. I feel like because it's those two things, you only get leveling people, you only get people who are max level. If more people are in the game, essentially, so if you have someone who's doing transmog participating in it, then that level 70 has a way to engage with other people who are equal to that level, because they're also trying to engage people in World PvP, and they'll run into more higher levels than lower levels is the idea. The third idea that I had was sort of events. So creating world zones that are like sort of contested zones. Maybe they're temporary contested zones. Basically take your highest condensed areas where people are most questing, create those contested zones there. That way they're like sort of hot zones that people can flock to. One, it fills the world, and two, it makes it feel like if you are not wanting to engage in it, at least you can avoid that area. And it's like, it's known, it's well established, that type of way. And it's like, oh, well, what am I supposed to do then? And then what you can provide is like, hey, you're on this path. Would you like to do, would you like to engage in other leveling content? Here, you could divert people in a way. Maybe you don't have to do that, but I'm just saying having a way where it's clearly dedicated in that fashion would be nice. So, and then with that solution, but also number 4 would be basically PvP zones, similar to like Garabashi Arena. So making those zones exist in, I would say, I don't want to say like every zone, but at least I feel like there should be a certain area that people can go to, that it's better to flock there. That way you don't have to waste, as someone who does World PvP, that way you don't have to waste all your time trying to find somebody to grief. Maybe it would just be better to have those zones, sort of like an arena you can participate in, but with people just passerbying, and then people who participate in it maybe get bursts of XP for even just participation, not necessarily winning or doing anything, but just participating. You get XP out of it. Maybe you get something out of it. So those zones, Garibashi Arena type of feel, where people can kind of go into those zones, as opposed to always being in the state of being like having war mode on. It's more of like a active engagement zone, whereas it's more of a passive, like you have it on type of thing. The next thing, of course, and a lot of people don't like to say this, like hear this part of it, but I think no matter what, with any of these solutions, you have to introduce my 5th idea, which is behavioral systems. I think that without a behavioral system to sort of penalize this type of toxic behavior, as much as it doesn't bother me as a player individually, I do think that you have to dictate what is intended behaviors from the system versus non-intended. I would say if you're camping a corpse relentlessly, you basically, what you do is you reduce that player's stats, give him a debuff until it's no longer possible for him to engage in it. Basically, naturally saying, hey, take a break. It's not killing the player. They could probably still do it to a degree, but for 3 hours, obviously this is too much, So I would say if you're killing the same person more than 3 times, you start that debuff, maybe start at a minor percentage, and as it just keeps on going, as you kill people, I would say like they're outside of the honorable kill range, you know, that level range, then you start to add that debuff on, sort of like a not a res sickness, but like a war torn aggro sickness or something like that. And then of course, with I said, of course, you know, events where it was like changing, like having open world zones that are like hot zones. I think you should have community engagement that is involved with world PvP, where people can participate in maybe weekly events, like a fishing contest, you know, like instead of fishing contest, world PvP contest, where you're put into a situation where you don't know who you're versing, but you can have moments where people can engage in combat with you at any given time, you know, something like that, where it's like where you're out in the world doing dailies, you can get sort of flagged or marked and you have to be on the ready by somebody else who's also engaging in it. Something where it's like people are actively engaging and being actively rewarded for those, and then creating sort of a passive tournament system is the idea, in the sense that you could either the better you do, the higher you rank, and the more you participate in the system, maybe the higher on a personal leaderboard or on a community leaderboard or realm leaderboard you can get, just to kind of make it to where it's like the higher you get, the more rewards you get, but just having ways that people can participate, doing what they're already doing, but not necessarily stopping at the low levels, but also providing max level players something to do in the game and events for them to participate in. So it's not so like, basically, like I said, the previous way, which is only people who use war mode are people who grief and then people who level. Let's make it to where those high level people have a way to participate in world PvP. It's still unfair because they're like, you know, maybe they have PvP gear, you don't. But it also makes people want to engage in the world in a different way. As long as they have it turned on, they can get rewards. But anytime they participate, they get huge chunks, you know, like of participation. You know, it really amps it up in that type of way. That way you have both passive and active engagement in the community. And those type of things, I think, will balance a lot of this out, because you see these issues happen a lot. And I think that there hasn't really been any changes to like how war mode behaves in a way that's been meaningful. So I think that one of these 6 ideas, I hope maybe sparked some ideas for you, and was positive for you in some sort of way. If you think any of these ideas, or you have an idea for the world PvP system that you think might work, let me know in the comments. Of course, if you like this video, give it a like. Subscribe to the page while you're at it. We do videos like this that kind of start discussions, but also provide solutions for the game that say like, hey, this doesn't work right now. And I think the system right now, as much as we may not like it, or much as we may want it to be the way it is, it's not going to help if we just keep it the way it is. Let's make change. And even if it doesn't work, change to try to make something better, at least is better than just staying stagnant. And then these issues happen all the time. So that's the idea of this channel. And I hope this was this helpful for you in some way. But of course, if you'd like to engage with us while we're on a live stream, we have twitch.tv/ShawnSetGO, as well as our YouTube that we do live stream every once in a while. So I would love to see you in either of those. But until next time, I'll catch you on the next one. Be safe out there. Peace.